Hey, I'm the MMA loser and I'm back with another video. Before I start a video, please watch this video at 2 times the speed or at least at 1.5 times the speed. Now, let us talk about one of the featherweight fights at UFC 288 between Movsar Evloev and Bryce Mitchell. The undefeated Movsar Evloev and Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell. Now, Movsar Evloev has been one of those fighters that you cannot decode. He always manages to get the win, and he's a really good wrestler. And Bryce Mitchell, in his last outing, in his last fight against Ilia Topuria, did not look good. He got outclassed, he got manhandled, and he got uh, pretty much bullied by Ilia Topuria. Then again, there is Ilia Topuria, who is a beast and has a really powerful right hand. So let us look at Movsar Evloev's record first, and then we can move forward from that. Movsar Evloev is 29 years old. He has had 16 wins and no losses till date, and he's currently, I think, ranked number 10, if I'm not wrong, maybe. Movsar Evloev, yes, he's ranked number 10, and Bryce is probably ranked number 11. Ilya is at number 9. I don't know why Ilya is below Chen Sang Zhang. I think Ilya can defeat a lot of fighters. But before that, let us just look at Movsar Evloev's record. He has had, his last win was against Dan Ige. He has defeated Hakeem Duwado, Nicky Lance, Mike Grundy, Enrique Berzola, and Sang-Woo Choi, Rafael Diaz. That was his last KO. That was in M1, and in his UFC career, he has not had any finish. He has fought 6 times in UFC since 2019, 2 times in 2019, once in 2020, and 2 times in 2021, and once in 2022. So he has been out since for what, like 9 months at least. Yeah, he has been out for almost a year now, 11 months, pretty much 11 months. So and he has had only decision wins against a lot of good, I would say, MMA fighters, good strikers. Bryce, without any doubt, will be his toughest test till date. Can he defeat Bryce Mitchell? I think so. He has the wrestling to go against Bryce. It says, but it will depend more on his striking because Bryce is not really scared of going to the ground with you. Even with Topuria, he went to the ground. He was able to take Topuria down, and Topuria is strong. And but yes, Topuria had like way better boxing than Bryce. Bryce is again one of those fighters who, like Sean Brady, who does not have good striking when it comes to the top of the food chain MMA fighters in UFC. You need to have really good, like you need to have good striking. I'm not saying you need to be a world-class boxer to become a UFC champion, but you need to have good boxing. And Bryce does not have that. But let us still look at Bryce's record. Let us now look at Bryce's record. Bryce is again 28 years old. He has had 15 wins and one loss. Of course, that loss was against Ilia Topuria, who I think is the dark horse of this division. And Bryce's last few wins have been decisions. He had a decision win against Edson Barboza. Again, Edson Barboza is no joke because we saw recently how Edson Barboza just knocked out his opponent cold. Then he won against Andre Fili, Charles Rosa, and he had a submission win against Matt Siles. And again, that was a twister. He is one of the few people uh, who has a twister submission in UFC. Again, that is very difficult to pull off. Then again, before that, he has had a lot of decision wins. So Bryce Mitchell also has only one submission win, one finish in his entire career. But Bryce has fought what, one, two, three, four, five, six, and 7 times in the UFC. When you look at their experience, they have the same experience. But only difference is that Bryce has fought better competition in UFC. I would say he fought against Edson Barboza and Ilia Topuria. Andre Fili, they're really good. On the field, he is good, but Barboza is really good, and Topuria is, I think, right now, me looking at the featherweights, he's top of the food chain when you talk about featherweight fighters. And he looked bad. Also, they're both grapplers. That is Bryce Mitchell and Movsar Evloev. One is a wrestler. The other guy has better jiu-jitsu. I think Mitchell is more jiu-jitsu dominant, but again, he's a wrestler jiu-jitsu. Like he tries to get a takedown. But Movsar, he is a chain wrestler, if I'm not wrong. Again, I won't lie. I have not watched many fights of Movsar Evloev. I've watched a few fights of Bryce Mitchell, but the best memory or the most distinct memory of Bryce Mitchell I have is against with Ilia Topuria, which is not a good memory. But that fight, I kind of thought even in round one he had his moments, but it is his problem with striking that I think he's not really a great striker. It will depend on how good is Movsar Evloev's striking. I don't think Movsar's striking is going to be as great as Topuria because despite being a grappler, Topuria hits hard and he has the knockout power, which is a great equalizer, as once said by Teddy Atlas. Punching power is a great equalizer because you just need to land one punch and everything else doesn't matter. Now, who do I think is going to win this fight? I'm going to give a slight advantage to Movsar Evloev because of his cardio, because of his ability to just grind out a decision. I think he might have a decision win against Bryce Mitchell. Again, is there a possibility where Bryce can defeat Mobster? There is. There I would love to be wrong. I don't have a problem if I'm wrong, but I give the advantage to Mobster Evloev just because of his record and for whatever I've seen of him are mostly highlights and a few fights from when he was fighting in Russia. Even some of his fights in UFC, he's a dominant wrestler who tries to take his opponent to the ground, and he does not. I don't think he's one of those fighters who's looking for a submission. He does take your back. He tries to. He's not a boring wrestler, but I think I'll give the advantage to Movsar Evloev just for also for the fact that he has more confidence, being undefeated and everything. And Bryce's last fight was in December, so Bryce is making a quick turn back. Not quick. It's been what, December, so it's like January, February, March, April, May. It's been like 4 or 5 months, for somewhere around 5 months. And in that fight with Ilya, apparently Bryce was a little sick. Whatever, it does not matter anymore because all now Bryce should be worried about right now is it Movsar Evloev. And if Evloev wins, where does it goes? Where does it go from here? And what is next for Bryce? Because Bryce is really young. He's 28. He still have like 3 to 4 years to get into his prime and become a champion. And if he does well within next 2 years, he can become a champion. And at the end of the day, that's what the goal of every UFC fighter is. And if Mobsar wins, he might get a fight with Ilia Topuria. That would be a really good fight. Ilia Topuria versus Mobsar Evloev. There, I think I give the advantage to Topuria just because of his striking, because he's physically strong. He manhandled Bryce Mitchell like anybody. He made him look like a nobody. Like if you remember the finishing sequence, he just ragdolled Bryce Mitchell. So, but Movsar can definitely defeat all those guys above him, like Sensang Zhang. Korean Zombie does not look really good at right now. Josh Emmett, or even I would say people like it might sound a little weird, but Yayar, because Yayar goes down real easy. I think it just again styles make matchup. This is one of those fights where the styles are very very similar. Both of these fighters just like to grind out a decision win on the ground. Mitchell tries to go for weird submissions. That is a twister, maybe a triangle or something like that. Whereas Evloev is more of a traditional wrestler, dominate you on the ground, grind out the decision. So overall, this should be a good grappling matchup, just like Arman Sarukian versus Mateusz Gamrot. If you have not watched that fight, do watch it. I think the best grappling match in the history of UFC ever. Now, my final pick, I think Evloev by a unanimous decision or maybe a split decision. I can be wrong. I would love to be wrong, and I would love to see a wall-out striking war between these two. But no, honestly, I would like to see a grappling match between these two, a good grappling transitions between these two. So you guys can write in the comments what you think about this fight between Bryce Mitchell and uh, Movsar Evloev, who you think is going to win this fight. And if you enjoyed the video, then drop a like, share this video, and please subscribe to my channel because I have really few subscribers and nothing else. Peace out.